Startup ecosystem, what the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast, and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive. And so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally, and we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about in language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow. Send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Hello, how's everybody today? Happy Black History Month. And, I like being a resource, but the startup ecosystem has a bunch of resources. You don't necessarily need me because there's 10,000, thousands of other people out there that's got all kind of knowledge and knows about more resources than I know about. And so today we're going to talk some more about AI, of course, but and give some insights on that and how you can use a reflection prompt and Lanika's verbose discovery prompt to help with your learning as a founder and kind of move forward with your startup. But if you got any questions tonight about how you leverage the startup ecosystem or what the startup ecosystem is and how to navigate through it. And so, I've got a lot to share, but, the more questions you ask, the, better I can support you in your journey. So let's get started here. Yes. And all the stuff that I'm sharing, tonight is based on my experience and what I've been prompting about and how I've been using AI. But you always have to remember we're in here doing and trying to use AI to help us with our startups. And so I just want to show you the approach that we use at the Kakua Institute and what we try to help founders with. And so you don't have to depend on me or other folks, but you still get to go out and connect with these other folks and connect with me and to help move your startup forward. And so today's topic is the AI speed trap, and I'm going to show you what I've been doing and how I use AI to help founders learn, to help me learn. It's more about helping me learn and then figuring out ways to use how I'm learning to help the founders actually learn faster. And hope the topic is appealing, the AI speed trap. So from a psychologist standpoint, it's just a speed trap in general, but just so people know I'm talking about AI and startups, I just thought it'd be good to kind of show some tools. And that sub thing there says why premature certainty kills startups. And I've been working with startups for quite a while now. I'm a level 3 Lean Stack certified coach. And it's just learning that framework and the process that when you get an idea, how do you get it, through all the different milestones and your business through all the different milestones. So, but Premature certainly. So when you're prompting, doing all this AI prompting, you think it's giving you, the right information you need, and so it's like, but you need to have clarity before you as you make progress. You can't, um, yeah. So everything has to be based on evidence. I guess that's the short way to say it. So let me take a second and give a shout out to some of our partners and other organizations that we partner with to help provide resources to you as a founder, and we're most certainly happy to do that. These are some of our partners and organizations that we're affiliated with, and take the time to look up some of them because they've definitely made a big difference for the Kukua Institute and our founders as well. And these are some of our funders and some more partners. And so they're the ones that's been with us. We started this program back in 2020. We did our first event like this August 13th, 2020. And here we are, February 5th, beginning of Black History Month 2026, and we've only missed one Thursday night event since that day. So I'm here. I don't know where everybody else is, but I know founders want information. They want to get some clarity in what they're doing, and so that's why we're here. So take the time to ask questions and get some insight. And definitely thanks to all of these partners. And so these are some of the platforms that we have to kind of help founders out and to kind of learn this chaos of being a startup founder. And so it's almost impossible to get answers because it's a chaotic situation. And so that's why you have to follow a path or methodology or framework. And that's what the Lean Stack is. It guides you through all the milestones. So you don't have to worry or wonder what you're supposed to be doing next. You focus on getting to that next milestone, not something that's happening, a year from now or whatever. Startup science, it's geared towards focusing on the phases that you're in, doing the right thing at that phase. And so, and this year, we are launching our Founder Insight program. So it's a way to get clarity, before you keep just, speeding down that AI path. We use AI, and one of the things we do is like we give our founders AI prompt that simulates the whole process. And, in a deep research mode, it does it less than an hour. And so but it's showing you all the steps, the things you need to do, so you don't have to wonder what am I supposed to do next. And that confusion is going to wear you out, keep you frustrated. So why not follow a structured path? I worked for the Air Force Research Laboratory most of my career, and the projects we worked on had never been done before. Most startups are trying to build something never been done before. But we were spending millions of dollars on these projects, but we just followed that R&D process to get where we're going. And as long as we followed the process, we didn't worry. And if you're a startup, if you follow the process, startup founder, you don't have to worry. Just follow the process. Get rid of all this confusion. Yeah, and so we call this startup founder best practices, and one of the reasons why we do this, because that ecosystem is out there, and the ecosystem has training programs, it has pitch competitions, it has grants, it has mentors, coaches. It has free office space, free software, discounted software, you name it, it's got it. But the way you communicate we call it startup best practice, but in order to get access to these resources, you have to know the best practices. And for example, the lean stack framework uses the lean canvas, and that's your one-page business plan. The bottom line is when you're trying to get some of those resources and that money, the discount stuff, you have to speak in that language. So that's the first thing you have to do. You have to learn how to pitch your business model. So that's what this first thing is for. Once you learn how to pitch what you're building, not what you have, what you're building, then you can recruit co-founders. Yeah. And so you, and also, so now you got your team, and you start to get teams and resources. And so you have to understand the startup milestones. That's what the lean stack framework does. You have to understand the startup life cycles. What are the life cycles a startup goes through? You can be out there doing all this stuff all you want, prompting all you want, and you may get lucky and make some money. But why not follow a proven process for building companies? Yeah. And everybody's giving you advice, and they don't even know what stage you're at. They're talking about raising money, and you just have an idea. How are you going to raise money with just an idea? Unlocking resources. That's really the key to this whole. And all these ecosystem organizations out there, they want to help you. They literally want to help you, but you have to pitch. You have to do your part. You have to learn how to communicate, speak their language. And the only language they speak is the lean. Believe it or not, it's the lean canvas. What I mean by that, that's you when somebody asks you about your company, you fill out an application for a pitch competition, you have to cover all those things on that lean canvas. If you put just a couple of things down there, they're going to say this person doesn't know how to communicate what they're doing, and you're not going to get in the pitch competition. You're not going to get in the program that gives you money. It's learning how to do it. That's what this best practice is all about, and that's why we're here every Thursday night to help you answer your questions and to help you move forward, and also to interview founders so they can tell you about their experience. And last week, I heard that a founder, stopped her business because, she didn't think it was viable anymore. But she's been working on it 4 years. We have tools that in 5 minutes you can determine if your idea or your business model is viable. Why would you spend all this time working on something that's actually not viable? That's what the whole point is. So if anybody got any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. And so the neat thing about the startup ecosystem, you're not pitching what you have, you're pitching what you're building. So you could be at the idea stage, or you could be up here where you've launched a product. It doesn't matter, because the ecosystem has resources for each one of these phases that your business goes through. From idea to exit. That's what you got to remember. Yeah. And so I can tell you stories, about how companies are startups. So people say, well, you just got an idea, you can't get no money. I interviewed several founders that got money and got help at the idea stage. So, and this is another way you can look at it. This is our startup science platform, and that's what you go through the phases. So it's a simple idea. So like you go from a vision, an idea to an exit. But the idea behind this one is at this stage, if you want to have an exit, or if you want to grow, everybody wants to grow, and exit is when you can sell your startup. But it tells you to pick the company that's going to buy you at the idea stage. Pick a company to follow. Get some people that are familiar in your industry and have them as your advisors. Don't start from scratch. Get the resources you actually need, early. And so if you follow somebody that's a business that's in the same field you in, you don't have to make all the mistakes they made. You can look at the path they took and follow it. That's what this program is telling you about. But guess what? It's got the training in there, but it's also got the grants in there. It has events in there, which may include pitch competitions. It's got sample documents for your startup. It's got tools that you can do a competitor analysis. It's got tools in that can generate your market information. And so, it's literally, so you can exercise what you have. Whereas our lean stack thing is more about milestone, reaching these fit milestones, and everybody's trying to get to the product market fit milestone. But so, there's another chart. I'm not sure if I have it in here, but it shows you based on these phases you go through, when it's the best time to raise money. And that's out here. But all this time leading up to that, that's what the startup ecosystem is for. That's where you get the money. That's where you get the free office space. That's where you get a discount office space. And I was talking to a lady, had 1 million cups yesterday. And so she's got a great idea, and it doesn't really matter what your idea is, to be honest with you. But anyway, she's got a great idea, and she wasn't familiar with the startup ecosystem. So she's out there doing it by herself. Based on her idea, she could get all the help she needs just by knowing how to pitch that business model and how to design that scalable business model, how to determine if that business model is viable. That's what we're doing here. It's literally the key to unlock the resources, because if you don't take advantage of the startup ecosystem, you're going to be spending your own money. You're going to be in the black. You can look at this as a money curve, but it's a traction curve. But you're going to be negative below this bottom line down here. But that's where the startup ecosystem can help you. Be curious, and you'll be surprised what you find. Our partners there's some of them give the software for free for 6 months. Some of them, there's so many between our partners where you can get free stuff is crazy. But if you're not curious to look, you'll just open up your mind and realize these resources are out there. Now, I'm going to take a minute to go through this, because this will save you so much time that is crazy. First of all, the business model design, demand validation, and marketing prompt, it takes you through all of this in less than an hour in the deep research mode. If you don't do it in deep research mode, 10 minutes maybe max, but it simulates this whole process. And all you're doing through this process, you're breaking your idea up into the customer segments or variants, and then you stress testing them. Each one of these things is a business model, one-page lean canvas, and you just stress. It's just a process to find the company that's the market, the customer segment that's going to give you the most traction. So the lady I was talking to yesterday, she's in the construction business. So she's focusing on the idea she has for the construction business. But if she runs this prompt, it's going to tell her all the customer segments for that particular idea. And so she thinks the construction industry is going to be the biggest marketplace. But when you run that prompt, it's going to tell you all the other alternatives, customer segments that you can actually look at, that you may get traction way faster. And so, and that's why I'm telling you all, you out there prompting and using AI to help you with your business, but it's not grounded against a framework to kind of help you grow. That's what the challenge is. So I think let's see what else. So what I wanted to do tonight was to help you learn, and so I'm going to put this prompt here this reflection prompt in the chat, the link to it. So let me, so basically what the idea behind this prompt is, so I've been using ChatGPT for a while. So I, so, and you know how you do all this prompting and you can't, some people prompt so much, you're never going to remember all the things you prompt about. And so this is a reflection prompt. So I said, looking across everything I prompted over the past 2.5 years, identify the key topics or questions that recur. Describe how my thinking over each has evolved over time, and point out any unresolved tensions, contradictions, or uncertainty that still remains. And so that's, let me find my prompt here that I can copy and give you. So yeah, let's see here. I'll just escape out of this. No, I'll just click the thing and it'll go to it. Okay, so let me copy. Oh, here it is right here. Just copy it. Anybody got any questions so far? Just put them in the chat. And I want you to go ahead and run this prompt. Just copy it out of the document. You can even make a copy of the document and just see what results you are getting. I will let you know that this beginning of the year, I started using this tool called Twin Minds. And so that's how I started to get to that. And I was, and it's supposed to be like a second brain tool, but I wasn't sure if it was working. And so, I prompt ChatGPT. So what do I need to do to figure out if this thing's working or not? But it gave me 3 separate prompts that led up to this one prompt. So I did those 3 prompts and everything worked. But anyway, so to say, looking across everything I've recorded over so far, identify the key topics, questions that recur, describe how my thinking has on each and has evolved over time, and point out any unresolved tension, contradictions, uncertainty that still remains. So this is a product called Twin Minds, twinminds.com. And this free version. And the good news is they got the AI built in. So if you got it on your phone, it doesn't have to go to the internet or anything, but you can use the record stuff and get the transcripts and et cetera, et cetera. But okay, so I ran this prompt in ChatGPT. And so I want to show you what my ChatGPT, what ChatGPT gave me for that, and how and that learning I got from it. So excuse me while I kind of scroll up here at the beginning. So since here at the Kakura Institute, we work with founders. So of course, I've been prompting trying to learn, how to actually learn and, and stuff like that. So that was one of the reoccurring topics. So let's go down here. So got stuff about the lean canvas, and then so this is about the evolution over time. So initially, I'm just lean tools as a method, emphasize on teaching founders the tools. That's what I was initially prompting about, because we have the traction roadmap tool. We have the what do you call it? The desirability stress test. We have the feasibility stress test, the viability stress test. We have the business model story pitch. We have the demand validation stuff where you have customer forces AI. It's just so many tools, and then so I'm just trying to teach the founders how to learn how to choose. So the middle phase, recognition that tools don't create learning, feedback loops do. So that was real important. So you have to get feedback whenever you, and that's a mistake a lot of founders make. They don't take the time, to get the feedback. And so the more questions you ask, the more feedback you get, and the faster your learning happens. And that's why the founders that ask the most questions and they get the most information back, because all these mentors and coaches, they know a lot of stuff, but if you don't ever ask them, they're not going to think to tell it to you. So just be curious. I guess that's the thing. So now my prompting has evolved the fact that learning is the product. Tools are the scaffolding. Insight with structure leaks. So if you get getting all this insights from the prompt, but you still got to have structure. You got to have somewhere to store it. It leaks. Structure without insight calcifies. So it's just gonna fall down. So, and we evolved from founder intelligence to founder insights, and all of this was a result of prompting. And I'm going to show you all in a minute. I dumped the results here into my favorite learning tool, Notebook LM, and created some artifacts there as well. And so this was the second thing was the discovery versus execution. It's not a tactic, it's a worldview. This is a recurring question. And so one of the challenges I saw working with founders was I'm trying to teach them the lean stack framework, but so that's about learning, and then working on their startup, it's about execution. And so when you try to do both of those things at the same time, you're going to get cognitive overload. And so using this two-step prompting method, so discovery is one mode, and execution is the other mode. So your insistence on not building too early. And say the lean stack framework, you build after you validated the demand for your product or service. Yeah. And so people out there spending money on software, vibe coding, and haven't even validated the demand for the product. Yeah. Yeah. So then repeated corrections when people jump to solutions. Okay. So then next thing, so this is just showing how my thinking changed. And this is just from that one little small prompt, getting all this information. So if this is just to learn about you, and because believe it or not, you've been prompting all these, whether last 6 months, last year, last 2 years, last 3 years, and the bottom line is your LLM tool really knows you and know about you. And so what we're doing here, we're trying to get it to reflect back what it knows about us, using the AI as a mirror, so we can kind of see what's going on. And okay, so let's see what else we got. Execution is a temporary narrowing. Founders oscillate, bad ones collapse the distinction. And then now discovery and execution are two separate cognitive states. Mixing them produces false confidence and sunk costs. I got a video that's going to help explain what that means. Your framework now enforces the separation. So you definitely want to keep that in mind. So this is a quick example. I was reading an article. It was about a student using Notebook LM, and so and Gemini gems. And so she had a notebook for each class, and then that gem, which is the AI agent, she would ask this question, and it would automatically pick the right notebook for the class she was taking. And so something else I learned from that is you could do something similar as a founder, just based on what you need to learn as a founder, and do that same process. And all the stuff I'm talking about so far is free. So don't get confused that you got to pay something just to do what I'm saying. And I'm not sure if that I take that back. I'm not sure if that when you create the gems, if the free tier has the way you can connect it to your notebooks, but it's definitely is just something to think about. Um, okay, you don't just recommend the distinction; you design systems that prevent people from violating it. So yeah, that's neat. Unresolved tension. So what am I still struggling with? Um, how long is discovery allowed before it becomes avoidance? Can some founders only learn by executing? How do you prevent infinite discovery with AI tools? Yeah, yeah. So, and this is where your work intersects with psychology, not just entrepreneurship. And uh, three, uh, uh, structure is your antidote to inequity. So this is interesting, but also a risk. The recurring question: how do we give underrepresented founders access to the same invisible rules without forcing them into rigid molds? This is everywhere in the Black Founder Program. Now we call it the Founder Insight Program, supplier development language shift, ecosystem navigation prompts, readiness gates, pathways, and playbooks. So yeah. So the evolution of my thinking on this, based on my prompting history over the past 2 years. Early on, access equals exposure plus information. Later, access equals translation of tacit knowledge. So tacit knowledge is the stuff that you can't explain that you know, but you know it. Okay. Ecosystems operate on unwritten rules, and that there's no way to, so that the idea of being able to pitch your business model, that is that nobody may not ever tell you that, but that's really what it is. And when you look at the questions that banks want to know, when you look at the question the ecosystem or investors want to know, they all map directly to the lean canvas. So if you can't talk about your business in the form of the way the lean canvas has it, you're dead in the water. So now structure is a justice mechanism. Playbooks are equity tools. Yeah, and I can dive deeper into AI can surface hidden curriculums at scale, and this is probably the most powerful statement in there. And so in that same link I shared with you, it has the Lanika's verbose method of prompting in there, and that's the thing that you use to unsurface all that, bring to the surface all that information. Yeah, so that prompt will definitely it changes everything. So if you really want to, so tonight I'll take this transcript and I'll run that Lanika's prompt on it, and it'll explain everything to me. It'll tell me what I did wrong. It tells me everything. It's amazing. So the unresolved tension that I have there. How explicit can you be without triggering backlash? How do you encode equity goals in neutral language? At what point does abstraction dilute the mission? Yeah. And so, and one thing people don't understand about, may not understand about, in the video I'll show you in a minute, it'll explain this, but everything is it's like a cycle or a chess game backwards and forth. all the stuff that's going on now with the racial tension and stuff like that. It's just going backwards and forth. It's crazy. Yeah. The recurring questions. Okay, now these are some powerful things here. AI as a mirror. So you're using AI to help you with your thinking. You're letting it reflect back to you and challenge you so you can you can understand. So AI as a co-founder, prompting as thinking, multi-agent workflows, notebook LM. So early AI stuff, productivity multiplier, research assistant, content generator. Definitely agree with that. Now the middle phase, cognitive scaffold, reflection engine, pattern detector. Yeah, definitely is the pattern detector. And so now unresolved tension. So above that is AI is a learning infrastructure. AI enforces discipline for founders won't impose on themselves. Prompting equals this fancy word, but it all means how you know what you know. And so, yeah, it's all about getting evidence so you can move forward. You now treat AI as a part of the operating system, not as a app layer. Unresolved tension: how much thinking should AI do versus provoke? Risks of over-structured curiosity, founders, skill, atrophy versus acceleration. You are clearly asking, and there's a lot of stuff, but you get the point. And I think that what I'll do is I'll transition to show the video, just to kind of get so just to clear up some what may be confusion on this. Okay, so I'm ready. So the other thing, so since I've been using, I'll just show this real quick. Since I've been using Twin Minds just for not even just a month or so, the results I got from it was much shorter, but it came back with that operator versus architect transition, evolution of thinking, unresolved tensions, personal identity, founder readiness, operating system. So you can see it followed the same path, but it was actually much shorter, since it was AI as a governance layer, not a generator. Equity and history as a diagnostic tool. I listened to a lot of history to see the patterns in history and how those patterns still apply today. Yeah. Personal root there. So this burden versus responsibility. When you see the word burden, that just means burnout, and now that's what it means. The old Bible days, they called it burdens. So, but you see, it was a lot shorter. But I'm going to show you the results of both here. And so I'll show the one that video that when I dumped just what you saw there from Twin Minds into Notebook LM, this is what I got. So let's listen in.
Well, everything. We are launching a campaign against one single, incredibly destructive force: premature certainty.
Okay, let's just jump right into it with the one question that probably keeps every single one of us up at night. You're smart, right? You're working your tail off, putting in all the hours, so why do things still manage to fall apart?
First things first, let's get one huge myth out of the way. Failure is almost never about not working hard enough. This whole hustle culture thing sells effort as the magic bullet for everything. But honestly, that's a really dangerous oversimplification.
And it's not about a shortage of good ideas either. I mean, come on, the world is swimming in brilliant concepts. A great idea is just the starting pistol, it's not the finish line. So, if it isn't effort and it isn't ideas, what is the real culprit here?
It's this. This is the silent killer. Premature certainty. It's that feeling that deep in your gut conviction that you are absolutely right, which causes you to charge ahead and start building long before you've actually learned what really matters.
So that brings us to our first section. We're going to call it the certainty trap. Let's really dig in and understand how to spot this enemy of progress in the wild.
Now, what's so interesting here is this definition. Just look at those words, false confidence. It's that addictive rush you get from shipping something, from just being busy, from executing. But all you're doing is borrowing momentum from a future that might not even exist because you skipped the most important step of all, learning.
So how do we escape this thing? How do we get out of the trap? Well, it all starts with a really crucial shift in your mindset. You have to evolve from being an operator into becoming an architect.
And this is such a critical distinction to make. The operator is the hero, the one who swoops in to save the day, constantly putting out fires. It feels really good, it feels important, but it just doesn't scale. The architect, on the other hand, designs the system so those fires never even start. One is totally reactive, and the other is deeply proactive.
And this quote just brilliantly nails that architect mindset. Your job isn't to be the star player running around making every single move. No, your job is to build the environment, the rules, the whole structure where the game itself can be played successfully even when you're not there.
This whole mindset shift is powered by what you can think of as a new operating system for your brain, and it's built on the massive difference between discovery and execution.
Okay, so this part is absolutely crucial. These aren't just two phases in a project, they are completely separate states of mind. Discovery is all about learning, exploring, asking questions. Execution is about building, optimizing, and scaling. And trying to mix them is like trying to drive your car while reading a paper map at the exact same time. You're just going to end up doing a terrible job of both. And see, when you mix those two states, you create something called epistemic debt. Think of it like the technical debt of knowledge. Every single time you build something based on an assumption you haven't tested, you're basically taking out a loan against the future. And that debt, it always comes due. And it usually shows up as a failed product or a totally wasted budget.
So, to avoid that debt, you install a system of gates, of readiness levels. You actually have to earn the right to move forward with evidence. First, as you can see here, are you problem ready? Do you have actual proof this problem is real and matters to somebody? Then, are you insight ready? Do you have a unique angle on why this problem still exists? Only after passing those gates can you even begin to think about solutions and eventually execution.
All right, so we have this really disciplined system. But how does it work with a modern tool like AI, which seems like it was built for pure speed? Well, the answer is kind of counterintuitive. We need to use AI not as an accelerator, but as a mirror. So the common way people view AI is as a magician. You just ask it for an answer and poof, there it is. But the much, much more powerful role for AI is as a mirror. It doesn't give you answers. It reflects your own thinking back at you and forces you to stare your own assumptions and logical gaps right in the face.
This is the core principle right here. The highest and best use of AI isn't to help you build faster, it's to stop you from building the wrong thing in the first place. It literally acts as a governor on your own premature certainty.
And here's what that actually looks like in practice. You build an AI partner that is hard-coded to challenge you, to be your toughest critic. It's the one that's always asking the hard questions, like, what evidence would it take to change your mind on this? It flags you when you're jumping to conclusions. It can literally block you from executing until you can show real proof that you've passed those readiness gates. So when you put all these pieces together, the mindset, the system, the tools, what you get is something much bigger than just a new process. You get a whole new operating system for making better judgments. And this new system is built on just a few core beliefs. First, that learning, not just being busy, is the only true measure of progress. Second, that certainty isn't a permanent state you achieve, it's a temporary permission slip that you have to earn and re-earn constantly. And finally, that insight without structure is chaos, but structure without insight is a prison.
If you take away just one thing from all of this, please let it be this. The goal isn't to move faster. The goal is to learn faster. Because when you accelerate learning, genuine, sustainable speed just kind of emerges as a natural byproduct. It's about getting clarity first and then velocity follows. Which, of course, brings us to our final question for you. As you think about your own work, your current projects, your most deeply held beliefs, just ask yourself this. What is the one certainty you're holding on to? That one thing that feels so solid and real that you are now ready to challenge? Because that, right there,
That's where the real learning begins.
Cool. All righty, let's get rid of that. Yeah, that was from that particular video was from the Twin Minds, and I'll show you the infographic that I got from uh, that same Notebook LM thing, and so just trying to explain that, and just remember this. So just so everybody realize, I typically record everything, and also transcripts. I also run that Lanika verbose discovery prompt on it, because you have to know how to read between the lines and what's really being said and how it applies to what you're doing. And that's what the discovery prompt, does. It shows you the patterns and and everything. And so, yeah, it's truly amazing. And so, well, for me, this operator thing is people always coming to you or to me, and instead of going to your documentation on how to do it, or whatever, or using a tool that has captured your knowledge. You're just trying to do everything, and that doesn't scale at all. And that's that operator trap. That's the thing that causes burnout. So many of us, including myself, we get burnt out because we're mixing those modes, learning and the discovery modes, and we're using all these tools, and it's just burning you out, and that's what's actually going on. So that's what this thing is trying to explain here. And so when you look at it, and I was trying to think, but the bottom line is you have to understand yourself. And the way you understand yourself is you get the AI to reflect it back to you. You done created all these patterns based on what you're prompting. Now you just need to get the AI to be reflected back to you, and then use the Nika's prompt to actually analyze the information. And that's what the deal is there. So operator mindset, AI roles, success metric. That's this operator trap. And so you want to start transitioning from this personal effectiveness to this sacred architect time, and do your reusable operational playbooks is what they're basically saying. So all these playbooks that you as a founder need to do, and that's what the Lean Stack is, a playbook, and it's it's actually taking you through the stuff. But now that information is so may appear to be simple, but it's got so much hidden stuff inside of it. So you use the AI to bring that information out of it, and that's how we kind of leverage that learning thing with Notebook LM. And so, that governance, mirror, and having things to scale. And so when this down here to the bottom is talking about that discovery versus execution mode. That's the most powerful thing you can kind of figure out, is make sure you realize, don't be trying to do both of them at the same time. And I think on the video it showed you the person looking at the map while they're trying to drive the car, and that doesn't work. So our system includes these, as you're going from one phase to the one milestone to the next, you make sure you have the evidence before you proceed. That's and it grades you on each of those phases. Okay, now so now when this is the infographic from the from the ChatGPT version of that reflection prompt. And so, as you can see, it was over 2.5 years, so it's got a lot more information on it. And so, but I really love what it did. So it did get that operator transition from operator to architects. So that's good. The Founders Insight operating system. And so, yeah. And so it's like pretty fantastic. And this is down here what I was talking about, those levels of readiness. Are you solving the right problem? Insight readiness, and then solution and execution readiness. And so those are the gates you got to go through. And you see it captured the AI as a mirror stuff. It captured the discovery versus execution. And it captured that learning is the primary unit of progress. And so, yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Yeah. So next, let's stop this one. Get out of here. Let's see what we want to do next here. Let's stop. Remove this off the screen. Let's give me a second here. Got to get out of this particular mode I'm in here. Okay. So next one I want to show you is the video that from the Chat GPT, just based on my reflection over the past.
Like you're just reacting to your day instead of actually designing it? Well, in this explainer, we're going to install a brand new operating system for your thinking. This is a big one. It's all about shifting you from being that reactive operator to becoming a proactive architect of your entire world.
So I want you to ask yourself, does this sound familiar? You're the hero in the room, right? The go-to person, the one who swoops in and fixes every single problem. But here's the catch. Being that indispensable person, it also means you've become what they call human middleware. You're literally the thing holding broken systems together. And that, my friends, is a one-way ticket to burnout. Your own capacity has become the ceiling for what's possible.
Okay, this slide right here, this is the aha moment of this entire framework. This is the core idea, the big shift from being an operator to becoming an architect. So what's the difference? Well, the operator is the firefighter. They're constantly reacting to emergencies. And yeah, they get that short-term ego boost from saving the day. But the architect, they're the one who designs the entire stadium with fireproof materials and sprinkler systems in the first place, preventing the fire from ever even starting. They don't just execute tasks. They build systems and playbooks that are designed to outlast any single person, including themselves.
So how do we actually build this new OS? Well, here's our roadmap. We're going to go module by module, starting with our personal work, then we'll scale up to business, touch on AI, zoom out to societal issues, and finally, bring it all back home to architecting our own resilience.
All right, first up, the personal OS. This is all about you. How do you, as an individual, stop being just a cog in the machine and start actually designing the machine itself? Let's dive in.
So the journey here usually happens in 3 steps. Look, we all start at step 1, just trying to be more effective, right? Juggling a ton of work. But then, inevitably, we hit a wall. And that's step 2. We realize we're in the operator's trap. We become the bottleneck. The game-changing move is step 3. You have to intentionally carve out what's called sacred architect time. These are dedicated moments, blocked off on your calendar, to step back and design the system instead of just running around inside of it.
And what do you do during this architect time? Well, this is where you build true leverage. Instead of just doing the work yourself, you create what are called reusable artifacts. Things like checklists, how-to guides, and playbooks. This is huge. It's basically how you clone your knowledge. You transfer your clarity to the rest of your team, and that allows the work to scale way, way beyond what you could ever do on your own.
But look, let's be real, this shift is not simple. It creates some very real tensions. Like, when does all that planning just become a way of hiding from the actual work? How do you build a system without stamping out the human magic and creativity? And maybe the toughest one of all, can you really let go of that ego reward that comes from being the hero who saves the day?
Okay, so we've got our personal work architected. Now let's scale this whole idea up.
how does this mindset apply to an entire business? Welcome to the Venture OS. Now, this is a really critical psychological shift for anyone building something new. You see, so many of us start with a student mindset, where we're looking for the single correct answer, like it's in a textbook somewhere. But a real founder mindset is totally different. It isn't about finding answers at all. It's about investigating your own assumptions to find those real, tangible signals from the market.
And this gets to a core principle here. It forces you to move away from, just building based on a feeling, what some people call vibe coding, and toward an evidence-based approach. The key takeaway is simple but powerful. Confidence does not equal readiness. You need actual evidence to justify what you build. And this leads us to the central tension, the big paradox for any founder. It's this constant, tricky balancing act. Are you taking action to actually learn and move forward? Or is it just busyness? A way to shield yourself from the really hard strategic thinking that you know you need to do? It's a question every single leader has to grapple with. Okay, so this whole architectural mindset doesn't just apply to us and our businesses, it also applies to our tools. So let's see how it can help us use one of the most powerful tools out there today, AI. This is the Logic OS.
Now here's a really powerful, and maybe even a little bit of a contrarian, take on AI. The idea is that its primary value isn't as some kind of magician that just creates stuff out of thin air. No, its best use as a mirror that reflects our own thinking back to us, forcing us to have clarity, discipline, and logic. It's there to amplify human judgment, not to replace it.
And this slide just brilliantly illustrates how to use AI the right way. You have to separate your work into two totally distinct modes. Think of them like two different gears. First, there's discovery mode. Here, AI is like your Socratic partner. It asks you tough questions, it helps reveal your hidden assumptions. Then, and only after you've learned what you need to and you've locked your inputs, do you shift into execution mode. Now AI is just following your precise instructions. Here's the critical part. If you mix these two modes, you don't get faster clarity, you just get faster confusion.
Because here's the deal. If you don't maintain that discipline, you fall right into the biggest trap of AI. You end up generating what looks like a solid, well-organized solution, but it's really just organized mud. It's a structure built on what they call hallucinated certainty. And the second it hits real-world pressure, the whole thing just collapses.
All right, so we've seen how this architect mindset applies to our work, our businesses, our tools. But what happens if we zoom out even further, like way further? Can we apply this exact same systems thinking to some of our biggest societal challenges, like equity?
The core idea here is to completely shift the conversation. Instead of getting bogged down in just rhetoric, you start to treat equity as an engineering challenge. You actually analyze the mechanics of the system. You ask, where are the access points? What are the real incentives? How is this thing actually enforced? You focus on the nuts and bolts, the practical pathways that can expand ownership and opportunity for more people. But, and this is a big but, being a societal architect requires a ton of patience. History shows us a very clear pattern over and over again. Every single step forward is met with a fierce backlash from the old system. It's just a reminder that real, deep, systemic change is slow. It's messy, and it unfolds over generations, not overnight.
Okay, for our final module, let's bring this entire framework all the way back home. Let's talk about the single most important system any of us will ever manage, our own personal resilience. This is the Core OS.
This is such a powerful way to reframe burnout. It's not a personal failure, it's a structural problem of managing your load. And the key insight here is learning to tell the difference between burdens and responsibilities. Think about it. Responsibilities are the weights that are truly yours to carry. They're your core duties that give you purpose. But burdens, those are the weights that are meant to be shared or maybe even released entirely. They're often invisible, a lot of times they're self-imposed, and they are what lead directly to burnout. And this, of course, creates a really tough challenge, especially for anyone who loves to help people. It's the helper's dilemma. How do you support others without rescuing them? The art, the real skill, is in helping them carry their own responsibilities without you picking up their burdens and carrying them yourself.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one big question. I want you to really think about this. Look at your work, your team, your health, your life. What is the one system where you are still stuck, being the hero, the operator at the bottleneck? What is the one system you need to stop just operating and finally start architecting?
All right. So, and if you all notice that uh, the prompting that I did was about me, but you saw how the AI transferred into learning for all founders and everybody else. So that's one thing that Lanika prompt can do for you. If is so this is the way I would start off explaining what I was doing before that Lanika prompt. I, I, I and all this information that you saw is based on me recording these events, is based on me recording training events, is based on me recording workshops, and getting the transcript and dumping them into ChatGPT and analyzing the transcripts. And so if initially I out from doing summaries, et cetera, to saying, each transcript article, I'll say, well, what are the key takeaways from this article? What are the key takeaways from this meeting? What are the key takeaways from this training I just listened to? And then the next thing I would in my prompt would be, what are the insights that I could gain from what I just saw or what? And then the next thing was, what actions do I need to take based on what I learned? And then so what happened for me was, with the AI understanding that my job here at the Kakua Institute, what I need to take. But then it took it another step down. What actions do founders need to take based on this? So I'm not just what Kakua Institute needs, it's also what the founders we serve need. And that's kind of what you're seeing in those last two videos. But if you remember, they were all about what I've been learning over the past, few years. So just the whole point of all of this is prompting. You have to realize that when you're just prompting, and this is what Jermaine was saying last week, was he doesn't use ChatGPT and all these other things because they just tell you what you want to hear. And then, but with this Lanika prompt, it puts that criticality back in there, but so he likes to use all the open source models because they don't have no filters. They tell you like it is. And so since ChatGPT and all these, if you remember, Google came out with large language models back in 2017, and Microsoft came out with some chat things, but they were, found out they were, the racist, because that's, everything like our society. So then they had Google pull this stuff off the market, but then, OpenAI came along and Microsoft, pulled their stuff back. And so OpenAI said, well, I'm not going to make the same mistake they made. I'm going to make sure my chat bot is nice to people. You see what I'm saying? Tell them what they want to hear. And that's what the dilemma is. So that's what you got to be careful about as a founder and as an individual is that the AI is all it does is find patterns and learns patterns. And you just got to leverage that to your advantage. And and believe it or not, that student versus founder thing, that was from recording, taking an article that was about the student, that how they were using Notebook LM and GEMS for her classes. And so the light bulb went on for me. I'm saying, well, I'm trying to get my founders to learn the lean stack, and I'm trying to get them to run a business at the same time. And there's two different modes, but that Lanika prompt brought that out to light, and so that's what I'm saying. And I tell people, why reinvent the wheel on all this stuff? I painstakingly, went through a lot of this stuff. And so I'm trying to, this learning thing is key. But Ash, with that lean stack framework, he's been saying for years the competition is how fast you learn. So you use the AI to learn, and so that's what the idea is. I could talk forever about this stuff. Anybody got any last minute questions uh, uh, about what they're doing and their prompting? Want to get some insight on that? And feel free to reach out anytime. If you Google my name, anybody can find my phone number, emails, or whatever. And we appreciate you all hanging on the line. But just all I got to say is just appreciate you engaging in everything. And feel free to reach out because there's so many things I could share, agents or whatever that can help you move along. But we're going to be sharing this stuff every Thursday night. Next week, we got Microtron AI coming back, Visa coming back, and she's done launched a bunch of stuff, and so she'll be back. And then the week after that, we'll have Ray back. He's kind of a 24/7 AI kind of guy. But if you want to have a topic you want us to discuss, I'm open to that too, because I want to help you learn and move faster. And my biggest thing that I have to understand. So when I see a founder working on something for 2 or 3 years, and I try to impress upon them to follow the process, and they don't follow the process, and then the next time I hear, they burn out, because they giving up because they just won't follow the steps. The steps are literally simple, just going through these things, and I give you the prompt that simulates going through all these things. So you just have to take time, dump that whole chat result in the notebook LM, and just ask it 1,000 questions, talk to it, the podcast, get to the bottom of it, make it explain everything to you, make it justify everything it did, and make it tell you why. That's what this stuff is all about. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate you all, and I love questions. I hate you all didn't give me any, because that's the way I learn, and that's the way you learn. But feel free to reach out. You all take care. Thanks for tuning in, Alex and Sam. Yeah, appreciate you all, and all the other folks out there, and folks over in Tallahassee as well. Big shout out. Folks on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Thank you all very much. And yeah. All right. See you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.